Our marriage has been relatively good, and on days off, we go out as a family, enjoying a harmonious atmosphere. I am a 40-year-old office worker, living with my husband and our 8-year-old daughter. We both work, so our income is stable, and we have little concern for our future living conditions. We were living happy days. But something happened that began to crumble the relationship between my husband and me. Wait, my mother? While I was at work, I suddenly received a call from the hospital. They told me my mother had collapsed. I was allowed to leave work early and rushed to the hospital. My mother was lying in a hospital bed. She had collapsed suddenly due to an acute illness, but thanks to emergency treatment, her condition was stable for the time being. I was shocked to hear you had collapsed suddenly. I'm sorry to have worried you. My mother is currently 70 years old and lives alone in our family home. Since my father passed away a few years ago, I have been worried about her. The thing I feared had happened, and I felt very anxious. Moreover, my mother would have to stay in the hospital for a while. Is it a serious illness? No, the tests are yet to come. I collapsed suddenly. So they want to monitor my condition for a bit before conducting a thorough examination. I see. I thought it might be better for her to be in the hospital rather than alone at home, in case something happened. With that in mind, I returned home. Is your mother okay? Yes, for now. But she'll have to stay in the hospital for a while. When I got home, my husband, who had been preparing dinner, was waiting with our daughter. He had thought about leaving work early to come. But I had told him that my mother's condition was stable when I went to the hospital. So it was okay for him not to come. As we ate dinner together, I shared my thoughts with them. I've been thinking about having my mother live with us once she's discharged. What do you think? I asked, seeking my husband's opinion. To my surprise, he readily agreed. That's totally fine. Being alone at an old age can be daunting. And it's even more worrisome after a sudden illness. Let's support your mother together. I was very happy to hear him say that. It made me feel fortunate to have such a dependable husband. Our daughter praised her father, saying, "Dad, that's so cool." Later, when I visited my mother, I asked, "Mom, would you like to live with us after you're discharged? It would be worrying if something happened while you were alone at home. So, let's live together and support you." "No, that would be a bother," she hesitated. "Don't worry. It's not a bother at all. I talked to my husband about it yesterday, and he agreed." "Really?" "Yes. We've decided to fully support you as a family, so you don't have to worry about anything." "Thank you, I'm glad." Then. "But I'm sorry, I can't live with you." "Why? Are you going to stay in the hospital forever?" "Actually, I've been meaning to tell you later, once I was mentally prepared. I have terminal cancer. My life expectancy is at most a year, maybe even less." I was stunned. The sudden revelation was too shocking, and I struggled to comprehend it. For a while, I was just frozen, unable to process my own feelings as I shared them. "I'm sorry I couldn't tell you immediately. I hadn't sorted out my feelings yet." "That's why. It's okay. I understand it's hardest on you. But still." As I said this, I was crying. Just the thought of losing my mother was unbearable. "Thank you for suggesting we live together. Just knowing that you and your husband care about me so much makes me very happy," my mother said, tears streaming down her face as well. After we both cried for a while, our emotions finally began to calm down a bit. "I'll come to visit you every day. You don't have to push yourself." "No, I want to come. Let me know if you need anything." "Thank you." After returning home, I informed my husband about my mother's cancer. "What, terminal cancer? That's your mother. He was shocked as well and took great care to comfort me. I'll take care of the household chores while you're visiting her, so don't worry. Thanks to him, I was able to visit my mother every day after work and spend time with her until the end of visiting hours. On weekends, my daughter and husband would come to visit with me, and my mother was visibly pleased. I was very grateful to my husband for creating an environment where we could cherish the limited time left with my mother. Despite my continued visits, my mother's condition worsened day by day. Mom, are you okay? It's getting tougher, isn't it? Well, about that. It's about inheritance. Let's not talk about that now. It'll make you sad. But it's important. I need to talk about it. I was surprised to hear about the inheritance. Apparently, my mother had assets worth over $2 million. As I listened more, I learned that my father had been involved in real estate investment. And after inheriting his properties, my mother had further invested in real estate. Thanks to this, she was able to earn more than what my father had made. I'm sorry for keeping it a secret until now. But I want you to inherit the real estate I own and continue investing in it. This reminded me of the times my parents had told me to study investment. Following their advice, I had studied investment and even gained experience in stock investments. I was grateful for having learned this. And hearing about the assets from my mother was truly shocking. This is important, so remember. Don't recklessly talk about having assets. I trust you to only discuss it with those you can truly rely on. Understood. The first person who came to mind as someone I could trust was my husband. He's a kind and dependable partner. I thought it would be okay to talk to him, but I didn't want to discuss the inheritance yet. I preferred to wait until after my mother had passed. About a month later, my mother passed away peacefully. I had taken time off work to be with her and was able to be by her side until the end. I had prepared myself for her passing and was able to talk to her a lot in the end. After her death, my husband and I arranged the funeral together. After the month memorial service, as I had decided, I told my husband about the inheritance from my mother. Really? Seriously, $2 million? He was incredibly surprised. Don't tell anyone else. I'm only telling you because I trust you. Of course, I won't tell anyone. I'm glad, thank you. I felt a bit relieved after talking to my husband. Honestly, suddenly inheriting such a large amount of money felt beyond my capacity to manage. Discussing it with my husband seemed like a good idea since it would allow us to plan for the future. However, gradually, my husband's attitude started to change. What's with that watch? Oh, I bought it because I liked the design. It looks nice, but how much did it cost? About $2,000, I think. $2,000? Why would you buy something so expensive? It's not that expensive. Well, considering our income, it is expensive. We have $2 million, so it's not a problem at all. I was stunned by his response. It was as if he considered the inherited $2 million as his own. No, that money is meant for our daughter's education and our retirement. It's not for buying such things. When I said that, my husband sulked and retorted. What? I can't even buy what I want now. Do you know how much I've helped you? Who do you think did all the household chores while you were visiting your mother? He started buying expensive brand items frequently, and even suggested quitting his job and moving to a better house, relying on my inheritance. Something's off with you lately. Let's forget about the inheritance for now and go back to our normal life. That's impossible. It's a waste not to buy what I want when I can afford it. I never imagined things would turn out this way. My once kind husband had changed because of the money. He kept talking about how to use the inheritance. suggesting buying luxury cars and moving to high-rise luxury apartments, which troubled me greatly. I've said we're not spending the inheritance like that. Stop talking about it. I became emotional, and he got angry in response. Don't joke with me. Do you know how much I've helped you? I have the right to spend half of it, $1 million, as I wish. You're planning to use all $2 million for yourself, rejecting all my suggestions. What are you talking about? I want to use it wisely and carefully. I don't believe you. You'll just spend it behind my back. I won't allow that. My husband became furious. I couldn't understand why he had changed so much. After that, we stopped speaking to each other. During this silent period, my husband made an unbelievable move. I bought a house for my parents and sister to live in together. What? Yeah, I bought a new house. It's a great house for all 3 generations to live in. This is a good way to use the $2 million. Wait, you used my money? Yes. I can't believe you did something like this without my permission. If you don't like it, we can divorce. You'll end up with nothing and live a lonely, poor life, he said, smirking. At that moment, a question arose in my mind. Can someone really spend a large sum of money without the account holder's consent? That seemed impossible. I believed that no matter what happened, it wouldn't work out against me. That's fine, but you'll regret it. I won't regret anything, he said, laughing. A month later, I asked my husband which company was handling the house construction. And it turned out to be a construction company owned by my father-in-law's friend. I've decided to live in the new house together. That's good of you. Take this as a lesson not to go against me. He seemingly misunderstood something, but I let it be. I immediately went to the construction company to talk. The manager showed me documents that had my signature and stamp, claiming that my husband and in-laws had handed them over, stating they were from me. However, I had never written such documents. I wasn't even aware of the house purchase, so this signature is invalid. A handwriting analysis will make that clear, I said, and the color drained from the construction company representative's face. The construction company representative. We deeply apologize for proceeding carelessly with the information received from your father-in-law, causing you significant inconvenience. We will cancel the construction. I asked the construction company's manager to keep the cancellation a secret from my husband and in-laws, hoping to teach them a lesson, and they agreed. Then, I signed a lease for an apartment and presented my husband with divorce papers, saying, I've realized I can't continue our marriage. Let's get divorced. He was shocked at first, but then scoffed. Do you really want to give up living in a $2 million house? Yes, I don't mind. I knew well that the house hadn't been purchased. I'll take custody of our daughter, and we'll leave the property division as is. When I said that, my husband, with a triumphant look, agreed, saying, Fine by me. After all, I have a new home waiting for me. I was glad I kept the construction company's secret. The divorce proceeded smoother than expected. After that, I signed the divorce papers and had my husband fill them out too. And then I left the house with my daughter. Originally, my daughter liked her father, but she had become scared of him due to his recent changes and started to keep her distance. So, moving away seems to have been a relief for her. The apartment we now live in has good security, but the rent is not too high. Even though I inherited a significant amount of money, I have no intention of changing our standard of living. That way, we continue to live a normal daily life. And I'm making sure my daughter acquires a normal sense of life as well. About a month after starting life in our new home, I received a call from my ex-husband. Hello, hey, what's going on? Why has the construction of the house been cancelled? Oh, you've just noticed now? As I explained the situation, he was furious. Don't mess with me. That can't be allowed. That's my house. What are you talking about? You were moving forward using my name because I have assets. At that point, it's considered my house. And the deal is invalid from the moment you forged my signature. What do you mean by that? My mother and the rest have already left our family home and moved into my current room. It was fine to feel a bit cramped for a while until the new house was finished and we could all live there. I don't care. That's your fault. No. Please, can we pretend the divorce never happened? That's impossible. I don't want to see you again. Don't call me after this. If I see you, I'll call the police. So that's how it is. Remember, I could sue you for buying the house without my permission. I won't, so just stay out of my and my daughter's lives forever. Oh, and make sure to send child support every month. After hearing this, my ex-husband seemed devastated, possibly fearing legal action, and agreed. Later, I found out his family had been counting on my money, indulging in branded goods and losing money in stocks, resulting in significant debt. Hearing this, I was simply astounded. I continue to live a peaceful and serene daily life with my daughter. I intend to watch over my daughter's growth and support her in whatever she wishes to pursue, using the inherited money for this purpose and also focusing on growing our assets.